All right, I think everything's working. Hello, how is everyone? It's another stream today. As you can see on the screen, we're gonna do. Make my face a bit smaller. All right, so I'm working on these kind of sketches for something new I'm doing for my Patreon, which I launched a couple of days ago or maybe a week ago. It's already live and it's for free for anyone who wants to join. I'll be adding to it free assets, free 3D assets, 2D Photoshop files, tutorials, concepts, anything that I'm researching about creativity, about inspiration. I'm reading a book right now called Big Magic, so I'm summarizing this and maybe I'll do post on it regarding it's actually changing the way that I see creativity, and it's very interesting. So I'm gonna be doing like summary posts regarding that book. But for today, it would be cool if you can go join Patreon. It's for free. There is a paid membership if you want that, but that's only for support, at least for now, for the next couple of months. As for this project, so I'm doing like a world building and ideas, world building and storytelling studies. So composition and how you place your elements in a way to tell a story to focus on one subject. And the subject that I'm working on is basically my city, Beirut, where it's kind of going into like a reality dystopian phase where the government collapsed due to the big history. Also, this is posted on my Patreon. What's the history of this, the timeline of this country, and why did it reach that point, and how corruption and bad politics got us to where we are. Anyways, today we're gonna be talking more about art. So the first thing that I want to do is sketch maybe like 5 or 6 sketches about scenes that you can see if you go take a ride on a motorcycle or in a car, or you go walk in the city. As you can see in here, I've already done some thumbnail sketching. Like this is the guy, yeah. So this is the guy on the motorcycle. You have a bridge, you have someone sitting under the bridge, you have some vans which pick up. These are like public transportation vans because there is no public transportation in this country. So these are kind of a private people that they're like taxi cabs, but for multiple people. A bit cheaper, more dangerous, lower quality. Then you have the dude that sells the coffee on the street and you can buy snacks from them. And you have all these vans, or anyone, they can stop by, they buy their stuff. Anyway, there's a lot of these scenes. I don't know if I'm gonna post this on Patreon, maybe not. It's too rough. At some point, like 2 years ago, because the country was collapsing, we had fuel shortages because the government couldn't buy fuel because there was an hyperinflation and differences in the market rates. So some days we had to stand in lines for maybe like 6 to 8 hours just to get 1 tank of fuel. It was a bit horrible. Anyway, so for today, I want to pick up, like I said, maybe 5 scenes. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do all 5 today. Maybe I'll do 1 or 2. And just clean up the sketch a bit, because later on I want to do this in a 3D painterly style. I don't know if I have this here. Let me see. Yeah, so it's gonna be, this is again, I'm aiming, let me see if this is something better. I'm aiming a bit for this style where it's a bit 3D construction, texture painted with some grease pencil on top of it. Maybe this will show you a bit more what I'm talking about. Okay, zooming in and Patreon. So this is 3D actually. You can see it from different angles. So for today, I'm just gonna do the 2D story slips. They're not the final composition or the final like direction. but just the starting point, and then afterwards I'm gonna be blocking them out in Blender in different streams. All right, so let me start. I think I'm gonna start with this one. I like this one the most. I don't know if it's clear. Let's grab it. Copying. All right. Starting a new. Maybe we'll do it 2000 pixels. This is gonna still be a rough sketch, just a bit cleaner, just for me to see what's happening. As you can see, this is already not very low res. This is actually fine, but I'm aiming for a bit more definitions, maybe a bit more coloring, just for the values to see what's the foreground, background, and like the whole composition point. This is just a bridge with the truck on top of it, and some cars here and there, and this guy kind of in the foreground. Second, the people that I'm streaming. Okay. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pick up the brush. Let's see this one. Change of colors. So I don't really care about the brush or the line art. For this one, let's zoom in a bit. Let's hide everything else. For this one, I used this kind of brush. It's more rectangular with a little bit of texture. This is a custom brush. If you guys want it, just let me know. I will post it also on my Patreon for you to grab it. There's a different variation for it. There's one with a bit more texture in it, especially in the bigger scale, you can notice it. But for now, I think I'm gonna use one of Photoshop's default brushes. Which one was it? I think this. Interesting. It's the What Media brush, the Kylie Ultimate Inking Thick and Thin. New layer. We don't need the characters, we don't need the properties, we don't need the channels. The tools is fine. I'm keeping the colors, but maybe we can lock it in here because there isn't. So I'm working on a 4K resolution screen. Everything is too small. That's fine. So I'm gonna minimize a bit the transparency. So first, there's the point of view, the line of view, what they call the horizon line, which is the most inconvenient name ever, because it's not the horizon line, it's actually the view line. It's where your eye level is in relation to the ground, or whatever, in relation to other stuff. So sometimes, just a quick tip, sometimes you see a picture and you actually see the horizon line because someone is shooting towards the sea or towards like the ocean. You see that the buildings, if you take the perspective points, they're not actually converging at the horizon line because this doesn't make sense. It actually converges on your eyesight. Anyways, we can do a video about that later, but you can find something about this online. There are some good videos about that. Anyways, where are the colors? What's the document type? It's a grayscale image. Let's transfer it to RGB. Don't flatten. Yeah, just Photoshop being Photoshop. So I guess this is somewhere in here. The eyesight, or maybe a bit higher than the motorcycle guy. No, it's not. Maybe. Yeah. It's somewhere here, I guess. This is just where your eye is located. The view line. Right. I don't really care about perspective points because everything is rotated and vanishing points will change when it comes to the rotation of stuff. And this is too technical. I don't really know it actually. It's not something that I enjoy. Anyway, all of these will be solved later on when we go into the 3D phase. Just Blender will have all of that built in the camera and the algorithm projection algorithms. So I don't really care about that. For now, I just want to make a cleaner version for this, so I can just like post on my Patreon later, like the 5 different scenes that you see, like just like this post maybe. So like this post is detailed about how the country reached the level that it is right now, and how the structure of this country is actually, and the corruption and everything else. So I just want to make a similar post where you can see like 5 different scenes with a bit of explanations for everyone. I think I talked too much about this, so you can start drawing. I'm gonna put some music. All right, maybe later on I will do some studies for how to actually draw mopeds and vans and cars in perspective, because I'm not really good at this. But for the time being, I'm just going with the flow. Okay, so this is a moped with something in the back. Okay, so this is also a sketch. So there is no actual point in worrying too much about what's going on in here. It can be a tricycle, a tripod, I don't know what it's called. It's motorcycle with 3 wheels, 2 in the front and 1 in the back. Because the way this wheel is located, looks like it. And of course, as I said, everything can change when we go into the 3D phase. So why do we care about this? Seeing the top of this is because it's below the eye level, and seeing below the bridge is because it's on top of the eye level. And everything in between is just a transfer, it's just a transition. Like in here you'll see this, and in here you see this, not to this extent. But on this, and the angle of if it's a line that goes like this, or a line that goes like this, or a line that goes like this toward the eye level, it all depends on the rotation. So if you draw a cube under the eye level, you see the top of it. You can draw it like this, or you can draw it like this. It's all converging here, but in different rotations. And if they are not on the same floor plan, maybe something is higher, of course, then this is different. There are some concepts of center line in here where you actually measure the angles of the orientations and stuff like this. I don't really care about that. Okay, so this is too short, it doesn't make sense. Because if this guy is on a motorcycle and if they are on the same plane, so this guy should be a bit taller. So if this guy is sitting, he's on a motorcycle, so a bit higher. But still, if this is if they are kind of the same height, this guy should be somewhere in here. And if you're talking this, kind of makes sense. It still is just a sketch, okay, so just a cleaner version of it. Let's do the line of the van in here. So you see this is wrong. It should be like this, because it's below, so it should go up. This is why I do these cleanups, because the first sketch is a bit too fast, just trying to figure things out in place. Okay. the stoplights, the other wheels. There are some details in here that we're not gonna see because of the perspective. And then you have this guy here. He's a homeless person. And weirdly enough, he's just reading books. We have a lot of these guys. For some reason, they became homeless, but they are still educated and they like to stay updated and study. Okay. Has like a floor mat. I'm not sure about his size, maybe it's wrong. I don't really care. Now there is a bit of a... What's happening to the stream? Okay, the stream is a bit laggy. I think it's updated now. Okay, let's keep going. So there's a bit of a tilt in the vertical lines, just because of the cam lens. Sometimes they don't have these kind of corrections, vertical corrections. So it kind of creates a 3-point perspective or 4-point perspective, depending. It doesn't look technically very good here. It should be above the horizon line, and then it goes in another direction, I think. So it's okay. This is for stylization anyway, so I'm not gonna really also worry much about this. Okay, so even like all the people that are standing, if they are the same height, they should be there. If they are the same height as me, the person who's looking, they should be a bit in the range of the view line. Even if he is too far away, then it's just the legs are because it scales down all of it. You scale it down all of it, so the legs will touch a higher point than this one. Okay, but he looks weird. He or she, I don't know. And then you have someone here sitting, sleeping, I don't know. Okay. You have the 2 lanes of the bridge. We need some steady hands. I'm bending the lines. I'm curving the lines a bit. That's not a big deal. When you watch someone like Kim Jong-ji do this kind of stuff, fully detailed, correct in perspective, realistic, stylized, in like a couple of hours, or maybe less, like 30 minutes, you feel how much hard work can play in your level of mastery, practicing. But let's not compare to Kim Jong-ji, because we're not trying to be him. Comparing doesn't really help. It does if you're looking at it from the perspective of improving and being like learning something from them. whoever it is, the artist, or anyone else. It doesn't have to be art. But comparing just to feel bad about it isn't really helpful for anyone. So that's the sidewalk. These are the lane lines. Another sidewalk in here. And if you come back to this van is somewhere in here. Someone's going down. The doors. Am I too close to the camera? I don't know. And then you have the plates, the front grills, the bumpers. I need to practice drawing vehicles properly quickly and drawing in perspective quickly. So usually there's something in here. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, seats, people are sitting in here. You have the door that slide opens. Again, it doesn't really matter. All of this will be done in 3D. We have a lot of poles and wires all over the place. So this is just a lighting pole. It's out of frame. But I've seen someone, like a really good artist, I think called the Cleaner Hay, who goes a bit beyond the borders of their art frame. It actually looks cool. So they extend. Okay, you have some buildings here in the background, hiding the bridge. Overlapping stuff is really important for the sense of depth. You have another pole in here. I should somewhat position myself. I know there is a way to shift press. I need to change the brush to get straight lines. But where's the fun in that? Okay, it has signs. It has some advertising. Actually, we can have some advertising here as well. Like all these political parties trying to brainwash the people to vote for something, or to give them money, or to give them more power. Doesn't matter the language, no matter what. Okay, you have some buildings in here. Some fence. Of course, there are papers on it, just like there are papers here. Some writing here. It's a bit dirty under the bridge. There's a building in here. This building looks very weird. Let's just make it one big one. There are roads in here. Okay. Let's draw the border. Let's hide the sketch, the below sketch. Okay. Alright. So this is the transfer of the sketch to a cleaner sketch. But let's have more fun with it now. Let's add some more details. So there's a building in here. There's a road there. That's a sidewalk. Let's erase what's behind this light pole. It's touching the ground in here. It should have like a concrete support maybe. The view line is above, so you see the top of it. Of course, electrical wires should be all over the place. They extend beyond the scene. They go everywhere. They even attach to each other. Okay. So these kind of lines, like these lines, this or something like this kind of give the volume in perspective, give the shape, the form in perspective. He looks too big for his head. I don't know if I want to fix this or not. I don't know if I care much about this right now. Let's see. So because this is below the view line, the neck is basically this kind of cylinder. You can see the top of it. These are some stuff that I'm thinking about when I'm doing these kind of sketches. How things look in perspective. Some details. Of course, he's not wearing a helmet because it's too hot, and safety is not more important than your comfort. There's a low chance in having an accident, but there's a very high chance in getting a sunburn, so we're wearing caps. It's more important. course, there should be an exhaust. It's probably on the other side of the bike, but who cares? Alright, let's not get too dragged in details. Maybe we should add some luggage in here. It will look more interesting. This is the van that goes the long distances to the towns that are far away from the capital, or maybe to other the bordering countries. Of course, there's the axe, you have the exhaust, you have the differential somewhere in here. I've been watching a lot of UK car YouTubers. It's actually a fun way to just disconnect and learn mechanical stuff. Okay, this guy is here. Getting something. We must stop both. Need some sort of a structure to hold it. Under the bridge, you have these columns. Maybe I should add some more in here. They'll also help in framing this guy in here. Don't ask me what I'm doing, I don't know how to build bridges. Just what I see when I'm driving around. They kind of have something like this, and they have like some other detail in here. Hey, we lost camera tracking at some point. This van shouldn't be tilted this much, so much. Right. There's some cleanups to separate things from each other. Some more details. There's a road like this, I guess. So there are more buildings. Let's just do the imitation of a building. This doesn't make much sense. Let's move it. Okay, there's a building in here. And of course there are buildings in the background. Let's make this bigger. I'm too close to see. Every time I look at myself in the camera. Let's zoom it out a bit. It's too much. Yeah, this is the Hyun. Maybe some people walking in here. Just for some proper depth. Some stores in here. Of course, this should be much more. It has much more cars and vehicles and motorcycles. But this is just a thumbnail. Actually went a bit further. Let's have a car in here maybe. Yeah. Stuff hanging from here. Some cut wires. Because why not? Maybe some drainages for the rain. Or some details in the concrete. Okay. Let's do some just painting, grayscale painting. So I'm gonna start with the darker tones for the foreground. This brush actually reacts with the tilt of the pen, which is pretty cool. All right. Yeah, this is how it looks. This is a bit in the foreground, so I'm gonna keep him kind of on the dark side. But this doesn't mean that they'll be darker in value, doesn't really matter. But for now, this is just for contrast. Maybe in the 3D I'll be having some motorcycles passing by here. You know what, let's sketch it in. It'll look nice. Let's go back to the block. Let's erase a bit these. It's a different brush, but since it's in the background, I don't really care. Oh, I should care. The difference in the line art isn't really nice. So let's go back to that shadow brush. The color is correct. It's too thin. Sometimes the icon, I don't know if you can see it, but the icon of the brush, this icon, is a bit annoying. So I press caps lock to hide it. And I'm left with a small cursor. Looks better like this. Now this is a shop with a sign. Of course, you can have some pods in here as well. Alright, go back to the coloring. Back to this, the colors, the shades. Now for this brush, I actually like to see the icon. I like to see the square. It helps me work with it because it's orientation based. So it's important to understand where is the brush actually oriented. Maybe a bit lighter for this. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be like 3 planes. It can be 4 and 5. But the main ones are the foreground, the background, and the midground. You can have a couple of midgrounds, different layers of the foreground, so you don't have to abide by 3. That's art. You can do whatever you want. You can tell your story however you like. It's up to you. Let's go lighter by a bit. And let's do the bridge. You don't have to color everything also. Not every element has to be colored. Like, I think I'm gonna keep the buildings in the background white. They make a bit more sense. Yeah. So this is the first sketch. Yeah, that's good. So this is the first one. It's a guy riding a motorcycle under the bridge. You have a couple of public transportation around them, and just a crowded city. That could be an interesting scene to build. Let's pick another sketch. This one is actually interesting. Alright, I think I'm gonna pick one more for today. Maybe you can do something else later. This is a lot of cars in perspective that I don't know how to draw. So if this is this working, or did we lose traction again? Yeah. Okay, I think I'm gonna do the airport one. It's a bit interesting. Okay, let's grab it. Let's have a bigger canvas. Layers. Alright. So I'm gonna do it here. So the idea is I'm gonna do a sketch, write some descriptions in here to explain what's in the sketch. Not gonna be too much. And then maybe I'll do maybe 4 or 5. Let's see. So the idea of this one is the airports in our city is very close to the ghettos, maybe we can call them ghettos, the poor parts of the city. And this is actually on purpose because the political party in the poor part of the city are the strongest, so they want to keep an eye on the airport. They control who's coming in, coming out. They know everything's what's happening. It's a very important, it's the only one, it's the only airport in the country, and of course it's a very important hub, so they control it and they monitor it. And this is kind of a hint to it. But what lives around it, like, it's not military militias or anything like this. They are there, they're hidden. What you see are just families, kids who actually have a view, direct views on the airport. This one has some issues, perspective issues. So let's delete the hidden layers because we don't need them anymore. What's this? Okay, we don't need this. How long have you been streaming? 50 minutes, okay. So this is a balcony of a building. Let's make it bigger. And there's this kind of line art. This one, this is the thumbnail. So I don't know if you can find it. Like this squiggly line art, sketchy line art is interesting actually. So I'll see if I can try to keep it as rough in this one, not so clean like I did. Like this one is very clean. I'm not sure if I like it more than the original sketch, which was a bit more dynamic when it comes to line art. So let's try to do that for this sketch. Bigger line art. Let's delete this. So this is a lady, maybe a mom, sitting on a chair on her balcony during the day. Holding, we call it Argelian here. I think it's called a Hubble Bubble, something like this, I have no clue. Just a second, my phone is ringing.